Good day, friends. It's your boy, Mikey GloveSave, with Tuesday afternoon WNBA picks for that ass. You know, this is a very busy time of year for Mikey GloveSave, and he thought that he might not be able to get a video out to his disciples today, but then he started looking and realized that he's running into the same bull crap that he ran into yesterday. I don't know what's going on here. Either these sports books are getting sharper or they're getting lazier. There are usually players who are available to take props on that are not even available today. There are categories under certain players that are usually available that are not available. And of the ones that are available, it's even hard to find a price discrepancy, and the odds just suck. But being that Mikey GloveSave likes to pick through stuff and just work his magic, he is able to come up with some good plays. Not quite as many as I'm sure you would like, but they're still pretty decent plays. And I know you're all thinking, Mikey GloveSave, why do you wear hockey stuff every day? Senators? The Senators on a WNBA show? I mean, what are you thinking? Well, that's a great question, and I got a great answer. Why not? First game of the evening is Seattle versus Indiana. We're going to roll with Kelsey Mitchell. Over 21.5 points. You can get that at even money on either BetMGM or Caesars. And before we proceed further in the elaboration, let's just keep in mind that we have Caitlin Clark, Ari McDonald, Sydney Colson, and Sophie. Yeah, Sophie. Are all out tonight. Opening the floodgates for Kelsey Mitchell, which she has taken full advantage of. 80% hit rate in the last 5 games, 70% in the last 10. Now, their 2 most recent games were versus Minnesota, first place Minnesota, and she smoked this line with ease. Kelsey Mitchell, over 21.5 points for even money. BetMGM or Caesars. I miss you, Sophie. Nika O. Yep, that's what I'm going to call her, Nika O. I hear the commentators say her name during the games, and I say, oh, that's how you say her last name. That's not hard. And then by the time I get to the show, I forgot how to say it. So until I can get a grasp on it, she's just Nika O. Over 18.5 points, minus 105 on DraftKings has the best price. 60% hit rate in the last 5 games. However, one of those 2 times that she did not hit this line was when she only got 22 minutes versus Dallas because they just kicked the living shnikes out of them and they pulled her early. The only other time she didn't hit this was versus Atlanta, where she got 16 points. Keep in mind, this is Atlanta, one of the top teams in the league. But that was after, 2 days after scoring 29 points versus Atlanta. So I think that this line should be juiced more than just 5. So I'm going to take this. Nika O, over 18.5 points. DraftKings, minus 105. Next is Aaliyah Boston, over 23.5 points and rebounds, minus 114 on FanDuel. She cleared this line easily in both games versus Indiana earlier this year with 39 and 38. Now we have those 4 key injuries on Indiana. I don't know how this is set at 23.5. I tried finding some different variables and I couldn't find it, so Daddy's rolling with it. Over 23.5 points and rebounds, minus 114 for Aaliyah Boston on FanDuel. Yeah, that's right, friends. That's only 3 plays for that ass in that first game. So let's move on to LA versus Phoenix, or as I like to call it, Pahonix. Now, being that I have a solid 51 followers on Twitter, you very likely saw me make this post last night, because you see, what Mikey GloveSave does is he likes to crawl into bed and snuggle up next to that lovely Mrs. GloveSave and open up his Pick Finder app and start looking for some early action for his disciples. And once again, he came across Rickea Jackson. Her 3-point prop is still set at 1.5. at only minus 140. Now, yes, this is a very rare instance where you're going to hear Mikey GloveSave say only minus 140. But have you seen what she's been doing lately? This should clearly be set at 2.5. So I will take this all day long. Rickea Jackson, over 1.5 3-pointers at minus 140 on Caesars. But since Mikey GloveSave's analytics lead him to believe that this should be 2.5, he also put a half unit on Rickea's 3-point prop on FanDuel. 3+ points for Rickea, plus 220 on FanDuel for a half unit. And that's right, Rickea's been very good to us lately, and Mikey GloveSave also likes her rebound prop at over 3.5. Minus 120 on BetMGM. We are getting a very small price advantage on this. Now, this is her first time playing against Pahonix this year. She was on a different team last year when LA played against them, so we really don't have any data to go off of them historically. However, Phoenix is 7th out of 13 teams and giving rebounds up to guards, which is middle ground. Rukia has a 60% hit rate in the last 5 and 10 games, and when she clears this, she gets anywhere from 5 to 9 rebounds. And based on what I'm seeing out of the last 10 games, I actually think this should be set at 4.5. So I'm taking Rukia Jackson over 3.5 rebounds, minus 120 on BetMGM. This next one I feel was a pretty easy decision. Kelsey Plum, over 19.5 points, minus 128 on FanDuel. Now, FanDuel is the only book that has this prop listed at 19.5. All of the other ones have it at 20.5, which I still think is fair. So I think that we are getting a point advantage on this. 80% hit rate in the last 10 games, 100% hit rate in the last 5 games. Phoenix is 10th in giving up points to guards. And Kelsey is just on fire. How can you not take the over 19.5? Minus 128 on FanDuel. And one more play for that ass from your buddy Mikey GloveSave before he signs off for the day. We have an under for you. Yes, Seattle and Indiana. Mikey GloveSave's taken under 169. Now, by this point, since you've been following me so religiously, you're probably familiar to a degree with my selection process for my player props. But when it comes to money lines and over-unders and spreads, it's a little bit different for Mikey GloveSave, and I'm going to give you a little tidbit. I'm not saying this is the right way to do it. There's many right and wrong ways to do things, but this is what's worked for Mikey GloveSave. First, he goes to Pinnacle. He uses that as his source of truth, and he likes to compare lines to that, first of all. And what he does is he likes to see what's favored on Pinnacle, and then he looks for price discrepancies in the other sports books. Now, once he finds a price discrepancy, he says, okay, well, why is this favored to go in a certain direction on Pinnacle? And he looks to justify that. And if all the data adds up for Mikey GloveSave, he will take that play. So, Mikey GloveSave found the under on Pinnacle for minus 114, and he saw it on FanDuel for minus 112. Yeah, 2-cent advantage, big deal. We'll take what we can get. Now, the last game before August 3rd was right before Indiana Injury Fest 2025, and the game total versus Seattle was 152. Now you have McDonald, Clark, Cunningham, and Sidney Colson all out, and their replacements are lower producing guards. Now, all other rec books besides FanDuel have this set at 168.5, which tells me that across the board, this seems to be favored to the under, and I think it's very justifiable. Under 169, minus 112 on FanDuel. And that completes today's edition of WNBA Picks for That Ass with Mikey GloveSave. You know what I'm going to recommend? I'm going to recommend you take a finger. I don't care what finger you use, all right? You know what? Take whichever one you scratch your bunghole with, and I want you to take that finger, and I want you to go up to the phone, and I want you to find that button that says subscribe on it, and I want you to tap that sumbitch. You know it takes longer to wipe your ass or pick your nose or scratch your ear or any of that shit than it takes to click a subscribe button? For Mikey GloveSave, who is clearly passionate about this, who clearly knows what he's talking about, and genuinely wants to help his disciples win money, subscribe to that ass. Do it for Mikey GloveSave. Do it for the disciples. Good day.